Don't ask because it's going to show up on your Facebook feed for the next forever.
So remarkable.
Remarkable.
Remarkable. Next time you pull up Facebook, it will
I
be there.
asked her about it ever since then. My Facebook keeps showing me that thing. I didn't even Google it.
So notebooks in it. Then I can upload those to my desktop. I haven't got that far yet. I'm still in the infancy of this device and being able to operate it.
We have Amy Corbin too. Does that give us quorum?
Yeah. Only one we're missing that said we're gonna be here is Dave Cole.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This meeting is being recorded, so be mindful of what comes across your microphone and your camera. If you're not speaking, it's helpful to be on mute to reduce the background noise. Hopefully, this might be our last meeting purely virtual, and maybe in March we'll have some sort of in-person connection, but we shall see. With that, I will turn it over to Chair Maxine.
Yes, can everybody hear me okay? Yes, all right. I'm coming to you live from Georgetown, Texas, visiting my father. So I have the agenda in front of me and we'll go ahead and get started. So I want to welcome everyone, call this meeting to order. And do we have any new people on the call today, Jamie, for introductions, or do we just want to go straight to roll call?
Go to roll call. I think we're all the normal
Okay.
people.
Normal
Normal.
people. I don't know about that. Tony's on the call, so, you know,
Yeah, we're not normal at all.
yes. All right. So I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Okay, Dave Cole. Amy Corbin. I see you in there, Amy. Lori.
Thanks.
I saw Lori.
Here.
Chuck Jones. Adam Black. Tiffany.
Here.
Casey Bergholzer. Sally Schauber.
Here.
Chris.
Here.
And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, review and approval of the June 21st meeting minutes, as well as the September 20th. I believe we did not have a quorum in September, so we have 2 meetings minutes to approve. Do I have any discussion? If not, would someone like to make a motion to
I make a
approve?
motion to approve the June 21st minutes. And can we do both of them at the same time? I think that's appropriate. You want to have 2 different motions.
Really, there's no minutes to the second meeting because we didn't have a quorum, so we didn't have a meeting. So all we're doing is approving the notes, or we just skip it, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
So theoretically, that meeting never happened.
Oh, okay. So Sally, I think you're good with just making a motion to approve the June minutes.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Amy seconds. And it looks like we need a roll call vote for that.
For the ones that are here, Amy Corbin,
Yes.
Lori Jennings,
Yes.
Tiffany,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, the minutes are approved. Report on activities, programs for youth, Lori and Elaine.
Just Lori, Elaine's off today.
Okay.
Have a couple of staffing updates. We have 2 new career planners. Alexis Erfer, she's the new career planner in the Richland County office, and she's located at Olney Central College. She began her job duties back in September. And then Laura McHenry, she's the new career planner in the Coles County office in Mattoon, and she started her job on November 24th. So we're happy to have, as far as career planners, fully staffed across the counties. We do have 1 open position here in the central office for an eligibility specialist. We're still taking applications. We're doing some interviews tomorrow, so hopefully we can get that position filled and started before a little after the first of the year. WIA staff, we recently attended the NADA, the National Association for Workforce Development Professionals Youth Development Conference in Chicago. It was just held this last week for 3 days. And the focus on a lot of the conference were things we are dealing with as far as recruiting and engaging youth, employment, retention, educating and training our future workforce, overcoming barriers. So a lot of good workshops, a lot of information. In talking with a lot of people from all over the United States, they're kind of dealing with the same issues that we're dealing with right now. So it's just not Illinois, it's kind of across the board. We're all dealing with the same issues. Staff, we've been real busy preparing for spring semester. We're doing a lot of outreach in the communities, meeting with employers, different agencies, schools, as far as trying to drum up business for not only classroom training, but the work experience on the job training. And right now we have 74 customers receiving career and or training services. In the youth program, we have exited 25 customers, and the total number served to date is 99. And we are looking for lots more. So that's all I have on kind of the update on that. You want me to move on to the performance? Okay, I'm going to share my screen if I can. Nope, I can't.
I will give you that capabilities. Make you a co-host. And you should be good now.
Okay, let me see. It's not there.
It's not letting you.
Mm-mm.
Let's see your co-host on my screen.
Here we go. Okay, can everyone see that now?
We see it.
Yes.
Okay, this is the preliminary outcomes for PY 21. The top section is the youth. We're exceeding or meeting all of those measures, except the youth measurable skills gain, which we're in at 8.14%, which we're failing. We have to get to at least 46.8 to meet that. And at this time of year, this is pretty typical for us as the case managers go in and put in those measurable skills gain. Usually those are put in after the end of each semester. So it's going to increase probably when they put in the measurable skills gain for the fall semester and then again in the spring. So I'm pretty confident we will probably exceed those. So it's, I'm happy with those results right now, but I think that's why the follow-up with our customers is so important. And the case managers do a real good job as far as doing the follow-up so we can get all this information in the system and show the actual outcomes for this. So, but this is where we're at right now. So have any questions on this?
I do, Lori. What is a youth measurable skills? What is that they're entering? I'm just curious.
They can meet this through a variety of ways. Either if they have graduated from a certain program, they get a certificate or a degree. If they have like passing grades, they meet, the honor roll, things like that.
Okay.
High school diploma, GED, those are all things that count for measurable skills gains.
So are these the out-of-school youth, or is this a group that's all together?
It's in school and out of school.
Okay,
Yes, and we track the measurable skills gain not only for the youth, but we track it adults and also dislocated workers.
yeah, I see that on there.
Yes,
Okay,
and well, and then if you can, you look at it, we're failing all of those measurable skills gain because a lot of those have not been put in for the year
yeah,
yet.
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Good question. Any other questions? Okay.
All right, thank you. We've covered activities and performance measures. So you want to lead us on into the next agenda item, Lori, youth recruitment action and ideas.
Well, we are actively doing a lot of recruiting in the area. We had staff meeting on Friday, and coming home from the youth conference, we got a lot of good ideas. And I think at this point, we need to kind of almost reinvent ourselves, because what we're doing, what we've always done, it's not working. We've got to find a way to meet, get out there and find these out of school youth. There's some areas they don't even do any in-school youth enrollments. They do strictly out of school, which was kind of surprising to us. But a group of our case managers has kind of volunteered to get together. We're going to kind of have a youth task force trying to kind of brainstorm. And I don't know if it's a marketing thing, if we want to change, the name or something to attract youth. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. Any ideas are welcome at this point, because we're kind of.
And I think it definitely goes with the next agenda item that we could, kind of weave in there, are those youth roundtables that we started, Lori and Chris, in the past with the probation officers. And we felt like, although there wasn't quantity, I think we felt like we got quality out of those roundtables with the probation officers. So are you, with this youth task force with the case managers, are you going to be pulling in maybe current youth you're serving, maybe to do a focus group or just kind of a informal interview?
Really got to that point yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you, like, currently, could you think of some of those youth that you're currently serving or immediately past serving that, would that be an idea to pull those students together and just pick their brain?
Yeah, I think that is a really good idea. And plus, we've got we've got 3 now, real young career case managers, where they kind of have a different perspective on things that we do. And they brought up some good points during the meeting. So, we're kind of old school anymore. What we think, hey, that's really cool. It doesn't work for the kids now. So it's getting kind of a new set of eyes, so not only maybe these younger case managers, but these kids that are on the program. Yep. Maybe not work, not even the work experience, but also some younger classroom training folks that could kind of give us some ideas what we could be doing, what they look for, when they come to an agency such as ours.
Yeah, that's where I would really hit it. And I love the idea that you're bringing in the younger caseworkers, because, that generation, even though we're wise and we know everything, right?
We think,
generation, they don't think we do. So I think if you could bring in, a couple of those younger caseworkers that they might connect with. But are you maybe looking to do this or something like this right after the first of the year, or what? What are you thinking?
Yeah, we're looking at January. We want to get through, a lot of people are off during the holidays.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
A lot of people are vacationing with the schools closed for the holidays. We thought we'd just kind of wait till after the first of the year as everyone comes back and probably maybe get some better attendance after the first of the year.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Lori, if
I
you're
know
looking for anybody to be on a committee or task force or anything and need, want any other participation, I'd be willing to, sit on that and try to,
Okay, okay,
bring something else, from maybe an outside point of view.
okay.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You went to the conference this week. Is there anything that this committee can help you with as far as things that you learned at the conference or things that we could help you move forward with?
It's one of those, you need it, but you don't know what you need exactly.
Mhm.
I think it's us getting together, just WIA staff, and maybe outlining a few things. Maybe at that point, we would be able to identify some specifics that we would need help with.
Hopefully those youth being served or recently served would just, if you created the right environment and those case managers could really pull some good nuggets out of them, I think that would give you some great information to move forward with an action plan.
Exactly. And we've got employers, and a lot of them, we have the crisis nursery here in Effingham. We have one of the health departments, one of the daycare centers. They're all interested in work experience and on-the-job training.
Mhm.
We don't have that pool of kids, that we can go to pull from. So, we're telling them, if you've got people coming in, they have staffing issues also. So, we are more than willing, and we've told them, we will screen anyone that would come in and would be happy to work with you. But they're having issues also.
Mhm.
Hey, Lori,
Yes.
I have another little thought. We're gonna have our next student services symposium with the school counselors. And some of them are familiar with, kids that they've had that are still struggling maybe. And that's in March. If you'd want to come and just pick their brain about recruiting kids, we have a lot of young counselors now. They might have some good ideas. I know one of the hiccups that you guys have had in the past is you get kids interested and they start the process, but they don't finish it. Maybe paperwork and that kind of thing. So I don't know. They might have some good ideas.
Well, that, and it seems like, why would kids want to come and work for $12 an hour when they can make $15, $16, $17 somewhere else?
Yeah.
I mean, we can pay those wages. It's just getting in with some of these employers that would like
Right.
to work with us also, and
Right.
can, give the kids the number of weekly hours they'd like to also.
Lori, speaking of employers, where are you really having a gap with finding employers in the area to take those kids? All over, or are there pockets that some of
I
us
think
could
it
really
is
help work?
just kind of widespread.
Okay. Is there any way we could maybe look at, the counties and the employers that are helping you, and then some of us could say, hey, I noticed you only have one employer in my area. Let me go out and at least
We could
start the
sure.
process.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
could
that's
break that
what
down by
I meant.
county.
Okay. What else? Who's got ideas or youth recruitment or anything else, Lori, from what were some of the other, you said these other areas were, doing some different recruiting methods. Any huge takeaways, any best practice models that you were like, oh, that's really cool, I never thought about that? let's try to figure out how to do that here.
And not even as far as the recruiting side, one of the biggest takeaways, and I went to one on performance, and the gentleman that was speaking, maybe is using different terms, how we talk to our customers. They're talking because, when we are at the end of someone's enrollment, we exit them from our program. Well, they say, he said, I never use the word exit. He said, from the very beginning, you need to talk about, these are the steps, that you will go through. When you finish with your training, it's like kind of a transition. The next step's going to be the follow-up process. You never say exit, because as soon as you say exit, they are done with you. That's why, people, we never hear back from them. We can call them monthly for that next year. Some of them are real good to respond. Others, they're done with you. That's it.
So they're suggesting you use the word transition or next step
Or
interview.
they talk, or he said, call it a business meeting. Or what I would say, okay, you're now finished with your training. The next step for you is going to be this. This is what we're going to be working on together. That not only maybe finding employment or whatever their needs are during that follow-up period.
Right.
So we
But
have,
a lot of these people that spoke were from big urban areas. They weren't from rural communities. Some of our staff went to one on recruiting in the rural area, and we're doing exactly what they talked about in the workshop. So we really didn't have any, big takeaways from that session. We were doing basically what they were telling everybody we should be doing, which we have been.
Mhm.
do we have caseworkers that are specific to youth, or if they're in a specific county, are they with an adult and a youth caseworker?
They do it all.
They do it all.
They do it all. We have, and it's still on the table, hiring just a dedicated youth person that would go out. There's kind of pros and cons with that. We are so spread out. We would almost have to have at least two. You would have to have someone that is extremely motivated, high energy, that would be able to go out and meet with these employers and be able to talk with these youth to get them excited about the program. It'd be a lot of work on their own, where without a lot of supervision.
Mhm.
But that we're still thinking about that. It's just finding that right person to do that job. So that would be a possibility. I mean, I think it would be a great idea. We've kind of went through some of the ones we've been interviewing for case managers, and it's just, there hasn't been that right fit yet.
So this person would kind of be a floater and could float
Yeah, I
throughout
mean, so
all
it
of the
would-
case managers as an extra
Yeah, it would have
support
to
or
be,
resource.
yeah, it would have to be somebody that would be willing, to travel 5-6 counties.
Right.
What would that position pay, Lori? What are you guessing? What would
You
it
know
pay?
what? We don't even know yet. We'd have to come up with the job. I'm looking at a couple old job descriptions we've had, and we'd have to come up with the actual job description, and then it would go to our CEO and chief operating officer here, and then they would kind of rank that as far as what a starting
Okay.
wage would be. But I would probably, it's not gonna be lots.
Right. It's almost like you need a sales marketing person for that role. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's gonna take somebody pretty special to step into that.
Mhm.
We almost need student ambassadors or student spokespeople that will go out, whether they were with an adult or a youth caseworker, that they would go out and they could kind of talk that youth through what a good program it is. Like testimonials almost, maybe not even traveling, but maybe some testimonials of students. And I think we have some of that, but just what does that need to look like? And how do we get students that are interested in doing it and then get that information out to students? All things to figure out.
Well, and a lot of it is, the in-school kids are easy to get. It's the out of school that we're having problems with. We need to spend out of school, money. That's where it's down. I mean, the in-school easy. They're easy to get. It's the out of school that we're not reaching.
I like the idea of the testimonials.
Mhm.
Maybe that's a piece of the transition next step process is, not every kid obviously is going to be, a perfect fit to do a testimonial maybe on video, but they could sure give you a quote or two that you could compile into maybe a
Right.
marketing piece.
Right.
And then I love the idea of the ambassadors. That might take a little longer to get rolling, but there's got to be a couple out there right now that you could think of that were a success story that might be willing to, chat with someone over Zoom or chat over phone. And it could be like a 10-minute connection, just to re-encourage them or get them to really understand, hey, stick with this because it's really going to help. So,
And this could be somebody that's, finished in the last couple of years.
right.
If we still have a relationship with those people, who knows, how their story has ended, from when they started with us.
And I am so sorry if we've been doing this and it's off my radar, but I know we do the success stories for the adults and it's in the pack. Do we do success youth stories?
Well, some of the success stories, they are youth.
Okay.
So, it's kind of across the board, but
Okay.
we don't specifically do
One of each.
no.
Okay.
Question for, just thinking about here in Mattoon, Lift will be starting students in the fall semester. And with each one of the programs that they're offering there, it's either 5 or 6 programs they're going to have there. They're going to have a work experience piece in each one of those. Is that something that we could somehow work with Mattoon School District, making that some sort of partnership between business and industry, K through 12, and we could be a part of that? And I can send you that PowerPoint from Christy Hill that has the list of all of the courses that they're offering. But that was one of the things I found interesting the last time I went to a Lift meeting, which has probably been about 5 or 6 weeks ago, was that every single program, HVAC, culinary arts, IT, childcare, all of them had some sort of work experience piece that was going to be part of that curriculum.
But a lot of that will be offered at the Lift Center, I think, Chris, won't it?
Not from what I understood when I met, I was on the HVAC advisory committee, not really sure, like I know nothing about HVAC. My understanding was they were going to be out, that would be their senior level course. And that for part of the day, they saw them going out to business and industry and doing almost like what we would call maybe a pre-apprenticeship or OJT, something like that, that they would, and I can't say that would be for all of those programs. I'm kind of specifically looking at the HVAC one since I sat on that committee. But they would be out with employers because they're going to have an industry recognized credential when they're completed.
But these are kids that are in school, right? Isn't Lori saying it's out of school that they're struggling with? Am I understanding this all right?
It is, but I'm hoping to like grasp at some straws that we can start at least bringing some people in. Then if we could get those employers on board, that might help us with some of the out of school. We would have additional employers that would trust us and know that we're working toward getting them the very best employees that they can get. And that might help us with building some of those relationships. in some of those areas that are high demand occupations right now.
It'd be worth looking into. I'm just wondering how many hours a week they have to do as far as internship.
I cannot answer that because I think some of it depends on, a lot of their things are competency based also. Instead of using credit like seat hours, a lot of the programs that they are implementing through LIFT that they will start next fall are based upon competencies. So a student might get through, one student might get through 3 or 4 classes in a semester or in a year, while another student may only get through 1 or 2 classes because of the competency based.
But this is starting next fall.
I'll send you the PowerPoint that I got from
Okay.
Christy Hild, and it will kind of line all of that out for you.
Okay,
I don't know that it's the answer to any question right now, but I think it's an opportunity.
Chris, this is just for Mattoon School District, correct?
They
Sally,
opt
either one.
to
So it's
28
open to other schools, for school, kids in school, yes, kids in high school.
But it's limited to a range of, you know,
They're
like-
opening up to any school that can get kids there, I think.
okay.
28
So
school districts are planning to approve the curriculum either in December or January.
there's a lot of unanswered questions about it, honestly. I mean, I think it's gonna be a good thing when they get it figured out, but there's a lot of, we had like McLean Schaefer speak to the counselors last week, and they had a lot of questions for him, so it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Is the model on your PowerPoint, Chris? I'd love to take a look at it. Just
I'll send the PowerPoint, you can take a look at it. A lot of it is more about curriculum.
sure.
And this, a lot of the information that they were giving to those other school districts, they're all ISBE approved classes that they're going to be offering. Some of those could be dual credit classes, but they're all ISBE approved curriculum at the high school level. So yeah, I can definitely send that to you.
They don't have a lot of policy information in it. I think that was what the counselors were really concerned about, cost, et cetera, because it's pretty expensive the way it is right now. So $1,500 to $2,500, I think, per semester. I can't remember. But anyway, there's a lot of questions.
Anybody else? We got a good little list here for you, Lori.
I'm writing.
I have down here, jump in if we've forgotten something, but I have
I
down,
regret asking the question.
no, this is what this group's for. I
Mm,
have January possible focus group with younger case managers to facilitate with current or immediate past youth served. I have Sally offering Lori to come to the school counselor symposium in March. We threw out the idea of compiling a list of counties and the employers that are helping with the program currently and looking for gaps and recruiting more employers. This is way down the line, but toying around with the idea of a youth specialist to float around all the counties and assist or be a resource for all the case managers. The idea of asking for testimonials from current and immediate youth served, possibly part of the next step interview process, and then creating down the road a list of ambassadors to possibly talk to recruiting and current youth in the program. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
I
ideas.
have a question real quick about this same subject. How do you guys typically get people, Lori? Like, is it word of mouth? Is there one thing that you've seen over the years that's really worked? I don't have a clue.
I mean, we try it all, but I think the biggest draw for people is word of mouth.
Okay.
When, and we did this with classroom training early in the semester where we sent letters out to all of our customers. It's like, we're happy we're able to help you, whatever. Now it's your time, please help us. If you have family, friends, co-workers, that could use our assistance, please spread the word. And, and a lot of times we have work experience kids. Well, hey, I have a cousin, or, that seems to work better than anything.
Okay.
Social media is just not getting it right now.
Yeah.
I know TikTok's real big and some of these others. I'm old. Sorry, I don't TikTok. Unless one of my kids send me one, I don't.
I was gonna say, I TikTok on my watch. That's
Yeah. I wouldn't even know how to do it. So, and maybe having that, dedicated youth person, those are things they could work on
Right.
for us.
They just look at things from a different perspective, I think. And like you
They
said,
do.
if they're floating and they're willing to travel and be a resource to all of your case managers, I think that would be huge
Yeah.
for the case managers across our service area.
I agree.
Yeah.
What if we got the newer case managers together and had maybe even someone from the outside that really doesn't know that much about any of the programs, just came in and did an hour long, I hate to use this word, but a SWOT analysis, where they talk about the strengths and weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats, but not necessarily use the word SWOT analysis. But got those new caseworkers together and just said, okay, give us some ideas. Let's just brainstorm this for an hour. And just having somebody that doesn't know anything, they can just start writing it down. And we could all kind of maybe sit in the background and just hear what they have to say, not really giving a whole lot of input during that initial brainstorming time. Because sometimes that's where some of your best ideas come from, is when people sit around and just think that this is impossible, but as they start to talk through it together, they find some similarities or some abilities to find something that is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And we could do something like that here in Mattoon, or I think I could get someone from the college that would kind of facilitate that really would know very little about the program, but could kind of just facilitate a nice conversation among them. If you wanted to, we could do that.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's a great
Who
idea.
who was the organization that did the program of study? We had those I went to for construction skills at Lakeland. This has been several years ago. Was it OCCRL and they did something kind of like that. They were outsider, they came in and, so I think that's a great idea.
Well, I think maybe even then we have maybe some representation from education, whether that be, maybe we get a guidance counselor from the area. Maybe we get someone from counseling at one or two of the colleges, and not for them to give input, but just to kind of sit back and listen to what's going on with the caseworkers. And maybe they would be able to kind of bridge some of those gaps between why aren't we seeing them? But I'll be real honest, in adult education for GED classes, we're struggling with getting students. They might come to orientation, but they only show up about 2 or 3 times. And then I don't have childcare, I'm quarantined, there's a list of reasons why they're not coming. And they're all very legitimate reasons, don't get me wrong, but it's also, how do we get them to persist, to keep coming? Because I think sometimes you can get them to show up for that first meeting, but then you can't get them to persist. And how do we solve that? I think that's
I
a
don't
million.
know either. I think it's a crisis in our country right now. My husband works at Hershey's and they had 35 new hires, and I think they're down to 6 that are still there maybe.
Yeah.
So
ZF is the same way. So that's like the hot ticket right now. So that would be the only thing I could see right now. If we went out to some employers and said, we really want to work on this youth initiative, they're probably all for it, but they're literally trying to fill their current working spots, not thinking about the pipeline,
they're trying to survive, right?
Yeah.
we had someone come in here, and not in our department, but another department, that they had a new hire, and she came in, did the morning, and she excused herself to go to the bathroom.
Never
And they
came
got
back.
to looking around. She never came back. She left. I mean, left. Didn't even
Wow,
work a half a day.
crazy.
So that's going on too.
Mhm. Yeah, ZF was using our back room at the extension building. And, you know, they'd have a full room on Monday, and by Wednesday, it was just like one table. So it's nuts. Okay. What else? The ideas are just a flying. All right. The next one, which we've talked a little bit about, would be those youth roundtables. And again, that would be kind of sources out there that I know, you know, Chris and Lori and I did the probation officer one. And like I said, although we didn't get quantity, I think we got some quality connections out of that. So, you know, maybe looking at the first of the year, a good youth roundtable might be, once we look at that list of counties and employers helping, you know, maybe that's where we go next with a roundtable, a quick Zoom roundtable with employers in gap areas that we could, you know, shed the light on. This service exists, and we'd like to get you involved, kind of an approach.
And I think childcare is maybe that next one.
Mm-hmm. But it would be kind of, I know, Lori, it sounds like you've got your hands full with the new caseworkers and maybe pulling those current students together. But I would think if we could get, you know, a resource roundtable, maybe one done before our
Like
March
next-
meeting.
Yeah.
So are you thinking, when you say daycare providers, pulling the daycare providers together, or just talking to people about that? What do you?
I think there's kind of an ongoing kind of a task force here in Effingham County of the childcare resources. And that seems to be a really big problem here in the area. There's not enough workers to fill open positions. I mean, there's classrooms that are completely shut down because there's not enough qualified teachers to teach these. So it's not only finding the workers, but finding qualified ones where, you know, if it's us, you know, being able to provide training for some of these people if they're interested in going into childcare.
Lori, what happened with the county board was asked to give so much money toward childcare providers in Effingham County? I thought they went to the county board in November for that. Do you know what the outcome of that was?
I do not. I might check with Kevin. He might know.
Okay, so I've got down potential employers that could help with work experience, and then daycare providers. Are there any other ideas for the Zoom roundtable model that we did with the probation officers? Is there another segment of the community industry that you think would benefit from that? Okay. All right. Well, if that's all we've got on recruitment and roundtables for right now, any other business for the youth committee this morning? Any public comments? Okay. If not, I again appreciate everybody. Exciting when we get a quorum. I know everybody's busy, but we know our youth staff is excellent and perfectly capable of moving things along if we don't end up with a quorum for one of our meetings. But I do appreciate everybody's time this morning. And with that, I will ask Sally.
I just have a quick question. When's our next meeting scheduled so I can get it on my calendar right now?
That would
March
be
21st.
March 21st. All right, and Jamie, you said you hope it will be in person, and if we do that, are we going back to the afternoon meeting?
If it is in person, we'll resume the traditional evening schedule. If it is purely virtual, we will continue this new model of middle of the day.
Okay, and in person, was that 3 or 3:30? I always got it wrong.
3:30.
3:30. All right, so 3:30 if in person, 10 a.m. if Zoom.
At one point it was 3:30, but I think it
Three.
was expanded to 3 to allow more time for robust discussion.
Okay, 3 o'clock. All right, any other questions or comments?
The only other suggestion I would make is if we do have to do Zoom again on March the 21st, that you guys think about sending out a morning reminder again, maybe an hour before, to get everybody, hey, you know, we're on in an hour. I always do that for our professional development that we provide online, and I do think it helps everybody to kind of be like, oh yeah, I'm on again in an hour or whenever it is. So that's just a suggestion I have.
Thank you. That's a good one. We will do our best to do that.
Yes, and I
Right.
just realized, Chris, I might have to ask you to facilitate the meeting for me. That is when I'm supposed to be in Ireland. But with all the travel issues, Ireland might get canceled. So,
Oh, right.
and I did not purposely plan that trip to miss the meetings, but our U of I marching band, our son is going to be marching in the St. Patty's Day parade over
In
there
Ireland?
in Ireland.
That
They
is
go-
awesome.
They go every 4 years. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
anyway, but odds are it'll probably be canceled. So anyway, all right, sounds good. If no other business or comments, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is that Chris? And do I have a second?
I can second it.
I was gonna say, no one wants to leave. Sally seconds. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Have a great Christmas, everyone.
Yes.
We will remain logged on for the consortium meeting, but I will stop recording or pause.
Okay,
All right, we are recording, so be mindful of what comes across your microphones and your behind you on your screen. And then I will go ahead and turn it over to Chair Busher.
all right, thank you for all attending, and I'm gonna just be open here. I'm at home with kids today, so bear with me if they're screaming in the background, so. Let's go ahead and we'll just do roll call.
Kevin's kid is here. Casey Burkholzer.
Here.
Kevin Busher.
Here,
There, yeah. Adam Flack. Jill Michael or Stacy Parr. Nancy is here. Pat Click.
Adam Flack is in the waiting room. I'm in.
Adam is, okay. Laura Jennings,
Here.
Amy Delaney and or Alyssa McGlone.
Here, and Alyssa's here too.
So both of you here, all right. Chris
Yep,
Rose,
here.
Connie Waldrop. 1, 2, 3.
We got you, Adam.
4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. Okay, we have a quorum, Kevin.
all right, thank you. We'll just go ahead and start the review and approval of the minutes for September 20th. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Look like Adam's making a motion.
A second?
I'll second. This is Chris.
Thank you, Chris. All those in favor by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carried. On to conflict of interest. If anybody has a conflict of interest, please disclose that now. Okay, business service update, Jamie.
The business service team met last month. We made some more tentative plans for an industries roundtable, and we selected looking more at across several sectors, just industrial in general. So that would include things like manufacturing and training, or I'm sorry, trucking, logistics and distribution, across several different sectors that kind of overlap each other. We're shooting for late February, early March. We still have not decided if this would be in person or not. We will be meeting next week to finalize some of those plans and start reviewing the questions that we will submit to businesses that we invite to participate. We have also come up with a survey, a questionnaire. So when anyone from the business services team goes to talk to businesses, that we're asking questions that not only give us pertinent information for our own programs, but also programs within the rest of the team as well. So then we can have a protocol that we're working on to share that information with the entire team and assess whose services would benefit the interviewing or the touring business in addition to just whoever was there on site. So we are coming together more as a group, getting a little bit more structured, and we're hopeful that by the springtime, we'll be doing a whole lot of great stuff cohesively as a team. That's all I
All right.
have.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Jamie on business services? All right, Tony, on referral.
It's just a standing item on the agenda, just a reminder to please send me your referrals. The last 3 quarters, I have gotten maybe WIOA's referrals, and that's it. So just a reminder, please send me referrals. Just numbers is all we need. That's all we have about this. Just a reminder, Kevin.
All right, thanks. Tony, on the MOU negotiation.
I'm going to ask a question regarding referrals first. When you say referrals, do you want a count of just how many people were told, hey, you might qualify for WIOA services, go there? Or are you asking for a count of how many people were actually successfully referred and contact had been made and they got started?
No, we've always done just, hey, I'm DHS, I'm referring it to WIOA. We don't do the follow-up yet. There's no way to track that. So if we had that information, that'd be great. But at this point, all we want is just referral numbers of, hey, I referred this person to Title I.
Awesome.
That's just a number. So that's all we want for now.
Thank you.
Any more questions on referrals? All right, the MOU negotiations for PY22. We're going to start at the first of the year with the negotiation team for the budget. We can't really do anything until Jill gets the infrastructure costs for the one-stop in Effingham. There might be some modifications to the narrative of the MOU, and I have not seen them yet. I don't know if anyone else has seen anything come out. Have you guys seen that? I know there's a kind of a template thing for the regional plan modifications, and I thought something was coming out for the MOU, but I just have not seen it. So when that does come out, I'll let you know. It's not going to be a complete change with the MOU narrative, but I'm sure there's going to be a couple questions in there that we're going to need to answer. So in the past, we've only met maybe twice, and I'm going to assume at this point it's going to be done by Zoom, but we don't know that. Just an update. I'll let you know when the time comes.
All right, thank you, Tony. Lori, the one-stop operator report.
The one-stop operator, we met last Thursday. I reported Erica Marksman, the resource room specialist. She did resign in November. She has taken other employment. IDES reported that in-person traffic has increased over the last few weeks. And so we discussed possibly hiring a new resource room specialist to assist those customers signing up for Illinois Job Link, helping with resumes and online job searches. So that will probably take place after the first of the year. The RFP for the one-stop operator will be released tomorrow, December 14th, and responses are due by January 31st. And we will be getting together probably sometime after early in the new year to discuss the RFP and get that completed. So that is the end of my report.
Hey, Lori, do you guys do that every year, that RFP? It just seems like you did it.
No, that was the last time there was an extension
Okay.
on it. So it's every 2 years, isn't it, Tony?
3. It's
Three?
every contracts for 2 years with an option for an extension for 1 year.
Okay.
Okay, it just feels like you just did it yesterday, but
I know.
But
Well,
COVID time, I think it's like dog years, extends everything out by, feels like forever. I don't know. Okay, I just wanted to kind of highlight on the next item, new water program. Community action agencies in Illinois have a new water program. BCMW, Urban, us, plus the other community action agencies in Illinois. That all started for us December 1st. I am not sure about URBA and BCMW, but we do have a water program, same eligibility as our LIHEAP program. So if you're LIHEAP eligible, you're going to be eligible for the water program. Anybody that has a bill over $250 or has a water disconnection will qualify if they qualify for the LIHEAP. So we have 200% of poverty level right now. And it's a one-time payment. You can help them one time. And you can help with sewage also, I think, if it's part of the water bill. So I just want to kind of update this, a new program. We just started it, and we will have this program as money allows or till September of 23. So it's just a 2-year program or until our funding gets all used. Anybody have any questions on that? All right, partner reports. Anybody have a partner report?
Hey, Kevin, this is Lori. I will go.
Okay, thank you.
For WIA, we are currently taking applications for the spring semester at area colleges. So if you know anyone that's interested in going back to school, there's plenty of time left to get that process started and taken care of before the beginning of the new semester. We're also heavily recruiting out-of-school youth for work experience and on-the-job training. If you know of any youth in your communities that might be looking for employment or even employers that are looking for help, please refer them to any of our outreach offices, or they can give me a call here at the central office. So thank you.
We have a report on Title II, Lifeline College Adult Education, GED classes. We have orientation second week of January. So we'll be starting classes again in the same locations. ESL classes we'll be offering in Effingham, Mattoon, and Marshall. We're going to have a new EBRI, or evidence-based reading instructor, that will service our area more to the west of us, so that Shelbyville and Pana area. Some of those students, we've been putting them in regular classes, that we're going to have someone that will be able to help them with some of those basic reading skills. We'll also be offering welding, a basic welding program at Marshall at the Extension Center and at the Shelbyville High School. They allow us to use their facility in the evening. So we'll be offering those basic welding classes for individuals who qualify, and they can qualify by meeting any of the WIA requirements through the state of Illinois. So if anyone knows anyone that might be eligible for GED, ESL, or welding classes, definitely have them contact our office and we'll get them set up in classes.
Yeah, this is Kevin. I just wanted to add one thing that I know affects workforce very, very much so, and is childcare. And I know in Effingham County, we have a big crisis of lack of childcare, and I know, just surrounding counties probably in the same boat. COVID has really doubled down on that and made it worse. We had a crisis before that. But, through CFS, we do a needs assessment on our 7 counties every year. And the biggest barrier for employment for low-income people is affordable and available childcare. So, like I said, that's a big barrier for businesses. It's a barrier for low income. It's a barrier for people that are not low income, is that childcare. I don't know if our workforce area can, attack that to see how we can get more people involved in childcare programs and working in childcare. But I think it's something we got to face, because if you don't have that, if you don't have childcare, you're not going to get people to work. And I don't know how we can help. We can get kids interested in the childcare arena because it's not highly paid. But there is a huge crisis in Effingham. Businesses are taking it upon their own hands, and some businesses are, and looking at, even doing their own daycare in their business. So, I just kind of want to challenge our the workforce area to see how we can, as a group, help tackle that and see what we can do to enhance the childcare industry, getting people involved. Again, because if people don't have a safe place to have their kid for daycare, you're gonna limit how many people your community can hire, can employ. I'll leave it at that. I don't know if anybody have any comments on that.
Kevin, I know your group from Effingham County went to the county board and had asked for some dollars to help incentivize people to continue their daycares or to expand their daycares. What's the status on that? Did the county award you the dollars you guys had asked for? I didn't get an update on that. I was curious.
They've tabled it. Apparently there's some dollars coming through the state for the same purpose, I think. I'm not sure. But it all goes back to, like, for example, in Effingham, there's a lot of classrooms open. We have empty classrooms because we can't find the employees to put in the classrooms. It always comes back to workforce, and getting young kids interested in that career. And again, I don't know what we can do, but I think we got to do something, because it's kind of like, if you don't have food and shelter, on the bottom of the pyramid, then you worry about and you can't get your basic needs met. Childcare is not a basic, it's not food and shelter. But in the economic development of communities, if you don't have childcare, your businesses aren't going to grow, because you're not going to get new businesses in there, because they're not going to be able to hire people to employ. So you got to have, that's the basic building block in an economy, is childcare. So you can provide high quality childcare, so people can work. And I just think as a workforce, we need a workforce area. We need to be looking on what we can do with our WIA dollars, what we can do with the partnerships we have to help get kids interested in childcare. And yeah, we approached the county to get some of their COVID dollars, American Rescue dollars, whatever they're called. And they've tabled that, trying to get every child care worker in Effingham County a $1,000 bonus. Not a bonus, but an incentive. Kind of used as a voucher to spend in Effingham County. That's kind of what we're looking at, and it's right now it's tabled, so I'm not sure if we'll be successful on that or not. But we also are encouraging for the county to develop a child care committee to keep that on the forefront of everybody's mind, is to find solutions to help with the issue going on.
I agree wholeheartedly that this is a crisis, not just in Effingham County, but across our region, across the state, and across the nation as well. I mean, even middle-class people are having a very hard time even affording childcare when it's available. And then the availability is not great right now because of the situation we're all in. I do think this is a good opportunity for us to explore possibly some pre-apprenticeships or apprenticeships in childcare. The pre-apprenticeships would be at that high school level, trying to get the students more interested in seeing if that's something that they would like to pursue. And apprenticeships could be beyond that. We would focus on some target audience, whether that's stay-at-home moms or some other audience. And through apprenticeships, you can incentivize. If it's Department of Labor registered, one of the qualifications to make it a true apprenticeship is that there are income raises incorporated into the training process. So as the individual, the apprentice is training and they're meeting certain milestones, then there should be a corresponding increase in wages. And that seems to be one of the big reasons why there is such a problem in childcare, is because they're doing a really hard job for not much money. So I think it's a good opportunity. I don't know enough about apprenticeships to know how to get it going. I'm hopeful that we will be receiving the apprenticeship expansion grant. They should be announcing awards any day now, and in tandem with our new apprenticeship navigator, that's something, one of our first projects that we can get going off the ground. That's hopeful, very hopeful. But I do feel confident that we'll be able to get somewhere, and that it won't solve the whole problem and it won't be a quick solution, but I think that's a good opportunity for us to start and address it.
So Jamie, where can we go from here as a workforce? And I know I just kind of threw this in here, but I'd really like, I don't know if we need to bring something, talk about this at the board meeting, something, but I think we need to have some action items and some goals for this, because again, this is a building block for workforce, for families, is affordable, available childcare. And I think we need to do whatever we can in our power, make a committee for it, doing something to get some action items, to get some goals, to see some real items that we can attack and work as a group and move along, because it's not going to go away. And again, it all starts with getting kids interested in early childhood care and letting them know that there is a career in this, too. And there's a pathway for earnings at the end of the tunnel. I mean, it's not great, but there is a pathway if you can build. So.
That's a great question of what we can do. I don't have any ideas off the top of my head. I think that is something that I'd like to talk to some of the standing committees we already have and see if we can have an ad hoc committee possibly, or what ideas they may have, especially the youth committee, where we have members representing secondary education, so they can help us come up with some ideas. I think
and maybe there's some things going on that in communities I'm not aware of, and we can get those, and maybe we can grow those in other communities But it does start with, it does, we have to be working with the high schools, we have to be working with the colleges, getting kids involved. The biggest thing is the pay. And, I know in the build better back, I know it's not passed, but there's some money in there for childcare. But it's all going to come back. It's all going to come back to if the workforce. Throw money at all you want, but if you don't have the workforce and people trained, you're not going to have childcare. So then you're not going to have workers, because workers are going to say, "Oh, I can't go to work because I don't have childcare." I mean, our surveys that CFS did on our 7 counties, that's what it says. Low-income people, the biggest barrier to employment is affordable and available childcare. So, people complain that low-income people are too lazy, they don't want to work. They do want to work. They just can't find childcare to work.
I absolutely agree. Mattoon schools, I think we've mentioned this before, have bought the old Consolidated Corporation Center. And one of the classes programs that they plan to have is the child care program. It's my understanding that students from out of the district can come to these programs. So that might be something if we could reach out to the Mattoon School District. And maybe the other school districts reach out to Mattoon and see how they are setting it up, and maybe they can set up their own programs in their own counties or communities. Child care is a class at Mattoon High School, and maybe check to see if other communities have a child care class in their community, because at Mattoon, they actually go out to another area to supervise children. And of course, the students are supervised that are working with the daycare. So, and I apologize, I'm not that familiar with it, but I know the students actually leave the high school to go to wherever it is, and they actually participate in supervising the children under their own teacher supervision. So, and of course, that's going to be moved, I guess, to the Consolidated building.
Mattoon School District is going to take their birth to 3 program over to the first floor, which will be part of their child care program. And those will be some of the students that some of the young students, those birth to 3 students, will be who the high school students are working with to be able to learn different techniques and to get a really, I think, a good experience of what childcare could be like. And there is a work experience piece in that, because all of those programs that they're offering at LIFT have got some sort of work experience piece, which would fall into pre-apprenticeships at the high school level, if we could figure out what that could look like or how we could help move that forward. Because we actually just talked about this during the youth committee meeting, LIFT and some of the opportunities that there are there. 28 school districts, in addition to Mattoon, are looking at approving the curriculum. So they would have done that either in their November or December school board meetings. So that would be a lot of opportunities for people, maybe school districts that can't offer that childcare class, that they could come to Mattoon and they would be able to partake in those courses to be able to hopefully find some new workers in the area and be able to, like Kevin said, that's an essential building block in employment in our area. And also just so people know their kids are safe while they're at work. Like, that's huge. As Kevin, you're sitting with the baby on your lap right now, like you completely understand what that looks like. It's kind of hard for me. I haven't had kids in daycare for a while, but that's a big one.
Yeah, so I mean, if we have contact information with Mattoon, give that to Lori and I would be great. I mean, I think we could talk to them even about work experience. I know it's in-school youth and we really don't need in-school kids, but there's an opportunity to do some work experience with those kids at those daycares if they're doing that too. So anyhow, any way we could support the daycares in our 13 counties through on-the-job training, through work experience, whatever we can do to do that, to help them out, to get them workers, I think we should be. And I like the idea of what Mattoon's doing. I'd like to hear more about it. So we can, maybe do that in other areas. If, school districts are willing to, listen to that too, so.
What about working with employers? I know it's an expense for them, but are there programs out there, state, federal, to help them start their own daycares? Anybody see the movie 9 to 5, Dolly Parton? And, okay, this was what the women's move, I'm sorry, I'm old enough. This is what the women's movement was supposed to be, and it veered off to its own agenda, but was to have more daycares, as an example, in the workforce, at the workplace. And, like AgriFab in Sullivan has its own daycare. When I taught vocations at the high school, one of my students worked there, and she got credit through the state, through DHS, for working in the daycare at AgriFab in Sullivan. And, if we could work with employers, reach out to employers, they're hurting for employees. Can they provide a daycare? I know there's a lot of logistics that goes along with that, but that would be a solution if there's a way we can help them.
I think Stevens Industries in T-Town is working on their own childcare facility, aren't they, Kevin?
Yes, they are. And I think that the problem is going to be is there's only so many childcare workers. So you're going to, basically people are going to rob Peter from Paul, and you're going to have a same problem somewhere because there's only so many workers in the childcare pool.
But it would,
like people are stealing them from each other in Effingham County. I know that the school district steals ours. We take them from daycares for our Head Start programs, and the cycle just goes on. And there's only so many people. So that's the biggest problem is the pool of people we're pulling from to work in childcare, early childhood education. And it needs to be programs like in Mattoon, getting those developed to get those kids interested in that. We all know there's a group of kids that aren't going to go to college. Their choices are, things like childcare, working in fast food, working in factories. We got to get them interested in working in childcare. So
another incentive, though, if the employer had its own daycare, perhaps the wife or husband of an employee might want to go into daycare and be trained as a daycare worker, so they could also be there.
Yes, I agree. Anything we can, I agree. Anything we can do to get businesses involved, get the dialogue going in our communities on how we can help solve this. Because, Jamie is right. It's a national and state problem, not just one or two counties in our area. I know it's worse in some counties than others. So I just wanted to bring that up because it's a core problem for our businesses in our area. It's a core problem for, people wanting to get employment. So. Anybody else have any partner reports? And I guess, Jamie, if you want to get back to me later and see what we can do as a workforce area, let me know how I can help.
Sure, yeah. Thank you. Great comments, Kevin. Thank you.
I have a question. This is Adam in Mattoon from DRS. Does anyone have statistics on how many people or how much of our population are looking for childcare right now? I only ask that because I read something interesting from Forbes about self-employment, and there's a whole lot more people self-employed, since the pandemic than there were before, who don't necessarily need to pay for childcare. And I'm not discounting the importance of it, but employers can't find people who need to come to work because they're looking for childcare and they don't have it. Well, how much of the population is looking for childcare?
I know Effingham County did a survey, but I couldn't tell you, I don't have the information in front of me, so.
We do offer some reimbursement for childcare services through our Perkins grant, but we have not had very many referrals. We haven't had a lot of candidates, so that's something that we can help with, but we don't necessarily. And we also have Wabash Valley has an early childhood program, and I was really interested in the pre-apprenticeship idea because I think that would be a good place to start for one of our campuses. So, and I did want to let everyone know that I am going to be, end of December is my last day with IECC. And so Alyssa McGlone is on here too. And if you have any questions or need any information, referrals or anything like that, I will need to reach out to Alyssa moving forward after today, after December 31st.
Amy, where are you going?
I'm going to Deaconess. I'm going back to healthcare. I was an X-ray tech years ago, and I'm getting back into that. I'm going to be a cardiac cath rad tech. So I'm moving.
Well, congratulations. You will be missed, but congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited and nervous and everything else, but it's going to be a good move for me. Thank you.
Good.
Hey, Amy, can you put Alyssa's contact information in the chat, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any more partner reports? All right, any old business, new business? Any public comment? All right, next meeting, Tony, will be when?
March 21st.
And we're not sure if that will be in person or virtual. If there is an in-person component, then we'll go back to the traditional schedule of it being an afternoon meeting. I think there was the traditional time. I don't know. I wasn't here.
4:30? 4? Why, we're struggling with what the times used to be. They've been for a while.
I don't remember.
Well,
But we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out if we get there.
Yes, and if it's virtual, purely virtual like this one, then we'll just stick with this new or newer format. It's not new anymore, of the midday meeting. But keep an eye on those e-newsletters that I know you guys open up and read every month, because that's where we'll share that information.
All right, just need a motion to adjourn then.
So move. This is Chris.
I get a second?
I'll second. This is Amy.
All right, all those in favor by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carried. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
All, if you are joining us for the board meeting at noon, it will be on a different Zoom room.
Zoom room.